Hello, Professor Catanzaro's ENG102 class. It's Dan Colangelo from the Mercer County Community College Library, and today I'll go over a few things for searching our databases that should hopefully help you find some sources for your paper, for paper number 3. So, like any database search, you're going to want to start off with a list of keyword terms. Your professor has a couple of different sources that you want you to find, different types, and I'll point those out in a second. But before you go into it, hopefully you have some idea in mind as to what you would like to do on your paper about happiness. Here are a couple of the keyword terms I came up with, and I'll go through them. So we'll take a look at the paper prompt first, and I'll show you a couple of things that should hopefully help you out. All right, so here is the paper prompt for essay number 3. It is the quest for happiness. In here, your professor asks you a series of questions to kind of get you started looking in your literature that you've read, as well as the databases, for some ideas about the quest for happiness, she calls it. You'll notice too that she says that you want to blend personal reflections as well as primary nonfiction sources and secondary fiction sources. If you looked in the paper prompt 3 here, she kind of explains that for you. She says that a primary source is a nonfiction article that comes from the databases. So we'll show you how to find these. A secondary source would be a fictional work from your textbook, and you would want to support that secondary source with some information from our literature criticism databases, and she has them named here as well. And then your personal narrative, which you guys can handle on your own. So we'll talk about these two first. So depending on which one you want to start with, sometimes it's easier to start with the secondary source here, or you can go and try and find primary sources. Usually the two are connected in that the secondary source you choose is going to kind of determine what type of primary source you're looking for in terms of topic. You know, if you pick one story, your idea of happiness is going to be a little bit different. And that's where the keyword comes in. So here you can see for the secondary works, you can simply just put in the title. I'll show you how to do that, author as well. And then, of course, happiness can be broken down to a lot. So if you pick The Storm, it's about husband and wife, there's children in the story. If you pick, say, The Yellow Wallpaper, it's a little bit about freedom. And then consumers and religion, your professor mentions these in the prompt. So again, you guys get to pick, okay? So how do we do some searches? Well, first we have to head to the main library website, www.mccclib.edu, and that's how we can get to the library website. Here we are, the main Mercer site, I'm sorry. Go down to library services. That takes us to our library page. If you look at your prompt, your professor actually suggests some databases for you. So I'll point them out to you, and as well as another one, and you guys can go ahead and use which ones you like best. Okay, so here we will start with the primary ones. So we'll use the general databases as well as a news database. How do you find those? Again, from the main library website, over on the left where it says Quick Links, databases by subject. Your professor is pointing you to the general databases for your nonfiction sources. For what it's worth, too, you can also find some literature criticism in these databases as well. They're general, so they're good for pretty much everything. But I'll show you how to find those newspaper magazine type sources. So she suggests Academic Search Premier. Great, we can use that. Here it is, Academic Search Premier. Click on it. It'll ask you to log in. You log in with your standard My Mercer user information. Click on Login, and it'll take you to the database. Now, before you start searching, please, 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 always make sure you click the option for full text. That is going to give you the complete article, so you'll be able to read the whole thing. And now you can go ahead and take a look at your keyword terms and see if any of them apply. So let's take the first two, happiness and family, okay? What we want to do is we want to combine these two keyword terms with the Boolean operator and. Because if we just type in, say, family, we're going to get so many search results that our search isn't going to be very helpful. You can see we've got over 600,000 search results. So if we add in and happiness, right, that's even suggesting it, we're going to get a lot less in terms of our search results. And of course, the more times you put in and the more keyword terms you put in, the fewer search results you guys are going to get. So if you look here, right, imagine drawing another circle in there where that says and, you'll get even fewer search results. So if we want, we can say and spouse. And that'll reduce our search results even further. Look, now we're down to 81, okay? And you can see that a lot of these are nonfiction in that they appear to be studies. Here's one about a gender gap in rural Ghana. Here's one about happiness in older women in Taiwan, mother-in-law. So there's a lot here. Again, some of these may not be very helpful. So we can say, let's take out and spouse. And we can go back up a level, and it will reduce our search results. They're now 1,500. If you guys want, you can select the search type that you're getting. I'm sorry, the source type that you're getting. You can select magazines, newspaper. It's up to you guys. So if you click on, say, magazines, it'll just show you these magazines. And sometimes this is good because they'll be a little bit shorter. Sometimes those in-depth studies can be a little too much. And so you can go and you can scroll through and see if there's anything interesting. So here we'll click on one of these articles. And again, for the purposes of me showing you, it doesn't really matter what it says. So here, right, what is a weekend happiness defined? Here's the author, here's the source it came from, some keyword terms, okay? What you guys want to take a look at is the abstract. The abstract is going to tell you very briefly what this article is about. So this will let you know if this article is going to discuss what you want to discuss, if you're making a certain argument, if it's going to support that argument or not. The abstract will kind of give you an idea. Again, this is still just a one-page article, but for some of the longer ones, the abstract's very, very helpful. Okay, so let's pretend you like this article. It's good. The actual article is over here on the left where it says PDF full text. Click on that, and it will go ahead and show you the article. PDFs you guys can download, save, print, whatever you want to do with them. There is your article. You'll notice too that my little save button was up there at the top. You can download and hang on to it. There it is, it's back now. There's my little download button. You guys can also go ahead and email the articles to yourself. All the articles in these databases, you have a little button that says email. You can send it to yourself. And even better than that, you have a little button here that says cite. And if you click on that, it will generate the citation for this article. You're going to want to use the MLA format. There's your MLA formatted citation. Now, they're not perfect. Like, see how this is in all caps? You'd want to change that. So this guy's name, you wouldn't want to change that. But there you go. There's your citation. Now, if you take a look at your search results here, if you've got too many, they're not good, whatever it may be, all of our databases work the same. So what you can do is you can go ahead, copy and paste the search and see if you can find other articles. Same deal too. Let's say you like this one, right? If we click on this, we can see that here's other keyword terms. So here's all the articles tagged with happiness or vacations. So if you're able to find one good keyword term, you can click on it. You can find all the other articles tagged with it. Again, this one has an abstract. The article's actually right there as well as in PDF. And again, you'll see your site and your email. So you guys can send these articles to yourself for later. Okay, you can also go ahead and look in the newspaper database. Your professor specifically suggests the New York Times. As I said, since all the databases work the same way, we can take our search. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to scroll down to the news section of the database page, and I'm going to use the one here called New York Times Current. So this will just search the current issue of New York Times. I think it goes all the way back to 1980 or something like that. If you want more newspapers, say, for example, the Washington Post, Orlando Sentinel, there's a whole bunch more here in ProQuest newspapers. So it's up to you which one you want to pick. We'll use the New York Times. Click on it. Again, it'll ask you to log in if you haven't logged in before. And here is your New York Times search. We can search within this publication right here. I'm actually going to go ahead and paste in that search, and we will see what articles we get. And since this is just searching the New York Times, you're only going to get articles from this newspaper. And you can scroll through and see if there's anything interesting. One of the nice things about the database is whether you use EBSCO like this one, or you use the ProQuest interface like this one, you guys will see something called subject. These subjects are essentially the keyword terms that the databases use. You saw them in the, here you can see them here where it says subjects. We have subjects over here. There you go. And over here as well. You click on subject. You can see, all right, do I want any of these things? You know, family and family life. If you click on more, it'll say, okay, here's a whole bunch of keyword terms. So you can include ones, exclude ones. It's up to you. So I definitely want to say family and family life, and we can scroll through and, you know, there's happiness, women, marriage. Great, these are all good. Click on apply, and it'll essentially add these in as ands. And you can see we were over 6,000, now we're down to 500. And we can scroll through and see if there's anything interesting. Again, same deal, we can go ahead, we can click on one of these articles and see what comes up. You'll have your abstract, you have your full text down there. You can read your article. You can save it as a PDF, you can email it to yourself, again, Yahoo, Mercer, Gmail, wherever you feel like sending it. And then finally, you can generate the citation. ProQuest citation defaults to APA. So all you've got to do is just scroll down, change it to the MLA 8th edition, and it'll switch the citation for you. Again, see, it's got this capital, so you have to fix that. Other than that, this is good. So those are your nonfiction databases. You guys, as I said, can use those keyword terms to help you out, okay? Here, again, these are kind of sort of more general, broad ones. The secondary sources now, let's talk about that. This one is a little more specific. This is where you would probably wind up using the title, the author of the short story or poem that you've read. So we can find some literature criticism databases as well. Again, if you want, you can certainly use the general databases for all of this. Any of these would be good, but it may be helpful, as your professor points out, to go to the humanities section and use either the Literature Resource Center or the Literary Reference Center. Either of these databases will be good. I like the Literature Resource Center a little bit better because it has a little bit more stuff in it. And when we search in here, it's important to use either the author or the title of your story because we want information on that particular story or author. If you go in here and just search for happiness or family, you're going to get a lot of articles that are not necessarily related to the story you actually read. So for example, let's say we're going to use the storm and let's type in spouse and see what we get. And there's a whole bunch of articles here. And again, these are all literature criticism based. So we can scroll through and take a look and see if there's anything interesting in here. Now, if you notice, right, we typed in the storm and we have the first two, they're on our author, right, the story that we read. But here, the ice storm, we didn't read that one. So what we may want to do is we may want to, for example, say, put the name of our story in these double quotes. We may want to add in another and put the author's name, or at least the last name, to kind of reduce our search results a little bit further. Okay, again, these are all options that we can use. And we can scroll through and see if there's anything interesting. It's the same though. Once you click on a title, it's going to show you the article. You can go ahead and you can scroll through it. There is an abstract here. It's a little bit hard to tell, but it's just this little bracketed area here. That is your abstract. And again, you can scroll through and see. The nice thing is it's highlighted your keyword terms. There's our author's last name. There's the title of our story. Okay. Again, if you want, you can download it, email it, and again, you can click on the cite button and it will generate the citation. What's nice, as I said, about these literature databases is it's only literature criticism. So if you want, you don't even have to be that specific. You can just do, in this case, the storm and Chopin, and you will get tons of articles on this particular short story. And you can see that there's a whole bunch here, and you can scroll through. So again, it's up to you guys. If you want, you can narrow it down. You can put in, I think Calixta is one of the main characters in the story. You can put in their names. It's up to you guys, okay? So again, please make sure you're in the right database. If you try searching for, say, like a newspaper article in the literature databases, you're not going to get them. It's not going to be very helpful. So just make sure you're in the right database. Okay, that's it for now, guys. I'll try to do another one for you about using eBury. If you get stuck or lost or confused, please let us know, email or call. Well, you can't really call, I'm sorry. You can email or you can try to do a Google Hangouts with us, whatever works for you guys. Good luck, and if you need anything else, please let us know. Thank you.